Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are going to be doing a reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's reading. And of course, for sharing all your beautiful energy with the reading today. So I'm going to start by shuffling the traditional tarot cards and getting into the messages. So what do those listening need to hear most at this time? The first card we have is King of Wands. And what's interesting is this card came out on the third eye chakra. So I'm hearing lead with your intuition. So for someone I'm tuning into here, you might be finding yourself in circumstances, connections, situations where people around you, or maybe even some kind of inner voice within yourself, is wondering if maybe you should be kind of over applying logic or reason to move things into place with a particular person or with something in your life. And the message of guidance I hear coming through is to not just lead with your intuition, but to continue leading with your intuition. And that word continue is important because I feel I am strongly picking up on someone here who has been allowing themselves to be intuitively guided, but you are being asked to continue guiding yourself in that way, not to second guess yourself in allowing your intuition to light up the path, is the wording that I'm getting here. So I'm hearing in doing this, you are inspiring others, but there's also a sense of loneliness I get from this card, of feeling that for the person I'm speaking to here, you might feel as though others don't quite get you or understand you at this time. You might feel as though you are making decisions that maybe are very different from what the people around you would choose. And so there can be this element of loneliness within that. I'm hearing higher access always inherently comes with a certain quality of solitude or loneliness at times, because as we've channeled in a recent video, it's like you have this exclusive higher access to certain kinds of higher level, meaning not better or worse, but more energetically advanced and more energetically sensitive systems that many people around you aren't aware of and don't have the same kind of access to. So inherently, you are going to be doing things very differently from others. Now, let's get more information on this. How are you following your intuition here? Okay. We have the Moon card in the reverse position, and it's interesting because my eyes were drawn to the affirmation on this card, which feels so relevant for so many listening. The affirmation is, "The path may not be clear, but my intuition lights the way, one step at a time." And it's interesting that this is about releasing fear. I'm hearing something about self-deception, but not so much self-deception as self-concealment. It's almost like a part of your mind or a part of you may have concealed some kind of truth from yourself for the purpose of healing or growing. I know we're talking very kind of abstract here, but For someone listening, it's almost like there is a deep truth or deep truths that have been coming to light within you that other aspects of you may have held back in the past out of necessity. I'm getting maybe there were certain things, certain truths that were there beneath the surface that you carried around like weights, but that for whatever reason, you weren't capable in the past of processing those things. Maybe it would have overwhelmed your energy. But now what I'm getting is you're ready. You're ready to see these truths within yourself that are now coming to the surface. And what I'm getting is when these truths come to the surface, it actually might feel like chaos. It might feel like anxiety. It might feel like uncertainty. You might actually feel overwhelmed by some of these truths, some of these realizations that you're having. And yet there's also a weight being lifted here. There's a deep sense of relief as you really step into your truth. You're radiating this really pure, clear energy and frequency because you are someone who is becoming so deeply self-connected. But the cost of that is that you are having to face certain truths that are coming to the surface here that, again, may have been hidden or held back in the past that are now coming through with clarity as these kinds of breakthroughs here. So I want to take a look at what these truths are that are coming to the surface here. So let's go ahead and pull some cards on this. What is the truth being revealed here? Okay, so there is some kind of spiritual up-leveling taking place. I'm almost getting the feeling of there being this pent up, built up energy that just builds up and up and up until it finally breaks loose, until it finally can't be held back anymore. And for someone here listening, this may actually have to do with a connection from your past or in your life. With carrying connections in the reverse position, part of the truth that could be coming out for someone now, of course, do keep in mind that I channel many different people, energies, and situations. So only take what is really resonating with you on a personal level. But I'm picking up on the energy of some kind of really heavy, really burdensome connection where you've let something build up like a weight. It may have been because there was a highly spiritual bond here. For example, this may have been a soulmate or a twin flame that you experienced a lot of signs or synchronicities around, that you had a highly spiritually charged connection with, and yet I'm hearing you felt so alone with that person or in that situation. And for some of you, this might be even still happening now. This might be an ongoing situation where you feel this deep sense of loneliness. You might be noticing a lack of reciprocation with this person, a kind of heavy energy. And it's almost like this reaches a breaking point or a tipping point. Now, for some of you, this actually may have happened around the 8/8 portal, the Lionsgate portal that we experienced, of course, on August 8th, just a week ago. So for some of you, it may be that around this energetic portal, it's almost like you had this massive breakthrough where you saw a person or you saw a connection that was becoming a weight for you, that felt really heavy. I'm getting for some of you, this may have become so heavy that it felt as though it was affecting not just your emotional world, but exhibiting itself physically in your body. Maybe you were holding tension in a lot of places or experiencing unexplained symptoms. Now, of course, I am not a medical professional, so I always say to seek out expert medical advice from a doctor or professional. with any symptoms that you might have physically. But I'm just getting this sense of, I'm hearing The Body Keeps the Score, which of course is a book. But there are these mind, body, spirit connections that are so powerful. And our body is so incredibly responsive to what is going on around us energetically and within us emotionally. And I'm picking up that there may have been a connection in your life where you were pouring into this person or into this thing continuously and feeling constantly met by blockages or met with heavy energy or resistance of some kind, whether that heavy energy was coming from the other person or just around the connection in general. Can I channel any other messages of guidance? Yeah, so there's something happening here spiritually where I feel your guides are really actively involved in your life and in your psyche to bring through these moments of clarity, to bring through these realizations. So I feel that it's almost like your guides have been working on you and with you to help you realize some kind of truth about this person or situation. And for some reason, I just keep getting the word heavy, like the energy around them was extremely heavy and it was wearing on you. I keep getting that symbolism of one person being like an anchor. And it's like you want to save them or help them, but they're pulling you down at the same time. And feeling caught in this situation where you want to be the savior. Maybe a savior complex is somewhere at play, either in your psyche or the psyche of someone connected to you. But there's this idea of wanting to save or help someone who is at this moment in time sinking or not willing to help themselves. I heard the word addiction, so addictions might be at play for someone, but keep in mind, these don't have to be addictions to substances. Addiction can be emotional, it can be mental, addiction to negative thought patterns, to codependent relationships. We can have so many different forms of so-called addiction in our lives, but I somehow feel either addiction or the concept of a repetitive cycle that keeps sucking you in could be at play here in some form. And again, that might be related to this connection that's coming up here. Okay, so I am going to be reshuffling here because I want to dive a little bit deeper into what is being released here, whether it's, I'm hearing it could have to do with subconscious fears. So maybe things that you've been afraid of losing or afraid of doing, maybe something that you've been afraid of doing for the fear of losing something else. And I'm hearing everything that you've ever desired could be on the other side of these fears. With the personal healing and happiness card, and also the journey card and door to romance reversed and storm warning and strategy. Okay, lots of cards coming out in this kind of stream of energy here that we're going to be channeling into. But the first thing I want to say is, if this message has been relating to a specific person in your life, you need to understand that even if there is a distance here, or you are choosing to create a distance, and maybe you feel at times a guilt or a selfishness for prioritizing your own happiness in this situation or creating this space, creating this distance. What you need to know is your personal choice to prioritize your healing, your health, your happiness is not only uplifting and benefiting the entire collective as a result, because that is an important component here. When you choose yourself, you free other people to do the same. And it's this mind prison in society that keeps us trapped in these cycles of codependency and over self-sacrifice. not prioritizing ourselves, our happiness, our health, our life, whatever, and then getting caught in these codependent connections that are very transactionally based. You are here to shift the frequency of the planet through self-love, which is unconditional love turned inward. And what you need to understand is if you have created boundaries or a separation with a person, maybe a group of people, maybe just with anything in your life, because you were prioritizing yourself, and specifically for someone who felt selfish in doing that, you need to know that in prioritizing your own health and happiness here, you are, again, not only benefiting the collective, but also you are actually directly holding the space for this other person, or for some of you, this could be multiple other people or a whole group, a whole community. You are holding the space for them to heal as well. You are setting them free from a codependent dynamic also. But specifically for those of you dealing with a love situation, you might feel as though in creating this separation, you are closing some kind of romantic door. And you also might be noticing or feeling a lot of chaos. Maybe you're seeing a lot of chaos in that other person's life. Maybe you're feeling very turbulent within yourself. But I'm hearing this turbulence doesn't mean that you're on the wrong track or that you're not following your intuition. In fact, very often when we begin to deeply realign with our inner self and get fully in touch with our emotions, get really real with ourselves, it's natural to experience some temporary chaos or upheaval. But as you allow the chaos or allow the storm here and continue boldly stepping forward, what you're going to find with the strategy card is that there is a divine plan at play here. There is a higher plan that is being enacted through you and through this situation that you may not be able to fully see yet. But I'm hearing you're following it by following the path of self-love and by following your own intuition, even when it doesn't make logical sense, and even when a part of your past programming is telling you that it's selfish to prioritize yourself. So I'm going to be reshuffling here because I want to know more about this divine plan at play here. What is this divine plan coming up here? Okay, a spiritual activation. I'm hearing they are going through what you went through before. So for some of you, you may have already gone through a spiritual awakening journey where you had to face your inner self, where a lot of chaos and turbulence was coming up in your life because you were so deeply self-connecting, self-reconnecting. And now what you might be discovering is there might be certain people, things, or connections that you have had to set boundaries with or distance yourself from simply to prioritize your own new, higher vibrational state of being. But what you'll notice is as you have the courage to create this space, it will spark and facilitate a spiritual activation in these others. And many that you are connected to or were connected to are going to be going through or are already going through a spiritual awakening or a spiritual activation that you went through before. An activation that is incredibly necessary to their own growth, to realigning them with their true soul's purpose that's coming up as the Temple Path card, realigning them with their highest vibrational pathway in this lifetime. And the message I'm getting so strongly is you can't lower yourself to their vibration and show them to that pathway. That would be the equivalent of taking your lamp off the pathway and putting it in front of the feet of a person who is being faced with major forks in the road, doesn't know which direction to go. And yes, they can see their feet, but they can't see where the path is, the path they're trying to reach to. You guide others to the path by remaining on it yourself and illuminating it for others who are still caught in their own darkness. And that is something so important to remember through this situation. With the door to value card in the reverse position, I am also getting this message around worthiness. And I feel that we're getting so specific here. I know this reading may not be for everyone, but bear with me here, because for whoever this is for, the messages are coming through so strongly. So there is someone here that you may be trying to help or save or assist. But the problem is, this person does not at this time see themselves subconsciously as worth helping or worth saving. And because of this, they are continuing to unconsciously play out the same patterns of either victimhood or maybe codependency or whatever it is in their life, because this is a person who isn't seeing themselves of worthy of saving or worthy of helping. And you can't force a sense of worthiness upon another person. The more you give them, the more they're going to use that energy to dig themselves a deeper hole until they shift the pattern from the inside out. And the way that this person is getting the opportunity to shift the pattern is by you holding the space, not by you lowering your vibration, trying to connect with them where they are and trying to pull them out of it, if this makes sense. So can I get more information on this person or connection? We have blossoming abundance in the upright position. Something new has been planted in your life that is beginning to grow in a powerful way. And it's almost like this force has stepped in to collapse old timelines completely that were weighing down your vibration and preventing you from fully rising into and stepping into this higher vibrational timeline, these manifestations that you've already planted, that you've set in motion, that are beginning to grow. I'm hearing anything that you were holding on to, even subconsciously, that was weighting you down to a lower timeline, is now being pushed to the surface. It's being pushed to the forefront of your mind because you're being pushed to jump fully onto this higher timeline trajectory, the timeline of your healthiest, happiest, most thriving, most connected, most confident and self-loving version of self. And you've been able to taste this timeline. You've had glimpses of it. You've experienced it in brief spurts, but now you are fully aligning yourself with it. And that is why these outdated vibrations, thought patterns, connections, weights, etc., are being brought to the surface of the conscious mind. It's like this decluttering process is happening in your psyche for the purpose of allowing you to more easily lift your vibration and rise to this higher level. But I'm hearing that decluttering has to take place first. Don't fear the process of old limiting patterns and beliefs and traumas and whatever it is for you being brought to the surface and cleared out. Because this clearing out process is going to really fast track you when it comes to being able to align with your true heart, soul's dreams, goals, and desires. So let's go ahead and reshuffle here. I know a lot of messages have been coming through. I do want to know a bit more about what could be coming to the surface for you. I am getting, in general, these could be themes around self-sacrifice, sacrificing yourself for the purpose of trying to fix or change or heal someone else. Yeah, because we have the Two of Wands, it's almost like the universe here presenting you with a choice. Now, for some of you, this might be a familiar choice that's come up many different times in different forms. For others of you, maybe it feels like the first time you're being presented with this choice. Maybe the reason you can now make this choice is because, unlike before, where you felt like you had no choice, you've now empowered and healed and grown to the point where this other path is opening up for you. So it's almost like before you really felt you had no choice. There was just that one pathway looping around into the same old cycles. But now the universe is stepping in and giving you an opportunity. It's opening up this new path and asking, are you going to take this new path? Now, there's no pressure in this, because what you need to know is, if for whatever reason you can't make this choice, you can't make that new choice now, there's no time restriction or limitation here. Know that that choice is going to keep continuously resurfacing and coming up for you. It's going to keep presenting itself as this other option, this other opportunity, this new pathway, even if it comes in different forms and through different circumstances. You've elevated to the point where this choice has become viable for you. Now, I know we're talking at kind of a level where things seem a little bit abstract and maybe even vague, but there's a reason for that. And it's because this is going to connect with you very differently depending on where you're at on your journey, depending on your unique set of circumstances. So only you can know what this new choice is for you and whether it's viable or time, or whether you're ready to make this choice. But what you need to know is, now that that choice, that new path has opened up, it's going to keep presenting itself to you in different forms until you ultimately make the decision to elevate yourself and your life in that way. And when you do, I see things beginning to happen very quickly for you with the Knight of Swords. This is the energy of big changes, suddenly jumping in. It's almost like you jumping in very quickly to that new timeline trajectory in a very full and complete way. Whereas in the past, you may have just kind of been glimpsing it or catching moments of it. This is you fully aligning completely with that timeline. Okay, so we have the Nine of Pentacles here. So part of what's been surfacing for you is, wow, and the King of Cups reversed and the Devil reversed. Wow, there are a lot of cards wanting to come out here. Okay, let's dive into this. So someone I'm speaking to here has been in the process of becoming more independent, which when I talk about independence, this is more so about you owning your own life, your own energy, your own goals, dreams, desires, really starting to thrive on this individual personal level, prioritizing yourself in positive ways, freeing yourself from past patterns of codependency. So this has been the spiritual transformation taking place for you. This is sitting on the crown chakra. So it's been a really spiritual process for you. But I'm also getting that it's been incredibly lonely. With the Hermit card, you've had to go into the cave. I'm hearing soul searching in the cave, finding yourself through the solitude, through the silence, through maybe feeling abandoned or betrayed or disconnected from others. And ultimately, this has reached a point where, oh, a card just flew out here. So this has reached a point where you've become very tired and drained of being chained to something that has become a burden for you. And for a while, you may have thought that you could juggle both worlds, that you could live on this timeline where you are really embodying that Nine of Pentacles, where you are free, where you are abundant, where you are thriving, where you are prioritizing yourself. You may have thought you could maintain that while at the same time compromising with this Devil card energy. Compromising meaning allowing yourself to remain somewhat bound or chained to something. It's almost like you would let this thing, I'm getting like it violated your usual boundaries or your usual standards, but you made exceptions for it. This may have been because of a history, because of a trauma bond here. I'm hopefully going to get more into that later on, but there's some reason that you would let this thing weigh you down, even though it was an exception. It wasn't what you would usually allow in your energy. And finally, I feel you've had this breakthrough moment of realization, almost like an I can't take this anymore. This has become too heavy. I can't carry this anymore. Or maybe it's not that you can't. Wow, this is a message. It's not that you can't. You are strong enough to keep carrying this, but you felt the call to investing the energy that you are expending on this person or thing that's draining you into new directions. So it's not that you can't keep carrying this in your energy. It's that you feel the pull, the passion, the excitement for a new phase of your life, for a new version of you, for something that you are putting this energy into. Even if you don't know specifically what that is right now, you feel it coming, or you feel that sense of passion and excitement. And this thing you've been holding on to is so clearly incompatible with that new energy. They can't seem to happily and harmoniously coexist here. And that is why you are now realizing that you've been worn down by this and ready to unchain yourself, ready to fully embrace your own freedom here. I do see that for many of you, this may involve a King of Cups reversed energy. So I'm getting that this may be someone who's actually deep down very sensitive or very empathic. But the thing about this person is, because of trauma or childhood experiences or blockages in their life or issues in their life, they've chosen to put up walls to their own sensitivity to kind of shield themselves, to block out these emotions. And this causes this person to actually exhibit a bit of an artificial energy, meaning an energy that isn't really them. It's not really connected to their true sensitive nature. It might come off as more cold, more apathetic, more disconnected, less caring. This is really them holding a shield around themselves that they believe is protecting them, but that is actually preventing them from really connecting in the heart. And I feel part of why you made an exception for this person or thing that resonates with this energy, if this is connecting with you, is because you had the ability to see through this person. You saw why they were putting up the shield, why they had the walls up. You understood that it was self-protection, but ultimately their lack of introspection here, their inability to let down those walls, has reached this kind of tipping point or breaking point for you, where you've been doing all of the emotional labor in this connection and it's become extremely draining. And again, what's pulling you is this Nine of Pentacles, this thriving, this success, this happiness. And ultimately, prioritizing yourself here is leading you to unchain yourself, or in some sense to step away from or set boundaries with, or etc., this person or situation, which is ultimately leading to some very big changes and some very big positive moments of breakthrough for you, because I got the Six of Wands here also. So I know this reading has been a bit unexpected. I really have no idea where this is going in the extended. Sometimes I know, but I have no sense of exactly where this is going to go. But what I do know is we are going to be continuing this channeling on Patreon. So we're going to go deeper into any other messages that do want to come up in the Patreon reading. And of course, you guys know that if you do want to join me in our Patreon Soul Tribe, you can always do so by clicking the link that I'll be leaving in the pinned comment and description box under the video. If you are resonating with this message, I know a lot of this might be for a very specific group, but if this is connecting for you, then I would love to hear from you in the comments. Of course, only if you feel guided to write a comment. And if you do resonate with my energy in a general sense, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel, to join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post more energy updates, inspiration, and information to uplift your day and keep your frequency in a high vibrational place. So otherwise, I'm going to close this here and continue on with our Patreon reading. Again, the link for that is under the video, but I hope you all have a really beautiful remainder of your day and week. And as always, I will talk to you here again in the next reading.